When I inherited 600 acres of remote Montana ridge from my Uncle Ron, I expected nothing more than quiet dawns beneath the pines. Instead, I arrived to find hazmat-suited crews probing the meadow like it was a toxic wasteland and a sheriff's cruiser parked at the trailhead. As I dug through Uncle Ron's journals, tax notices, and a leaked mineral report, I discovered a web of deception. The HOA was smearing my uncle, hiking his taxes, and hiding a geothermal treasure beneath the ground. Betrayal by neighbors, a race to secure evidence, and a courtroom showdown loom on the horizon. If you love real land battles, secret conspiracies, and one man's fight for justice, hit like and subscribe for more. I rolled up the gravel road before dawn, the air cold enough to see my breath. My truck's headlights revealed a line of hazmat technicians skating across the meadow, drilling probe after probe. Their white suits glowed under my beam. A sheriff's cruiser sat beside an HOA SUV, stamped Pine Ridge Estates, engines running but lights off. My gut tightened. This wasn't a voluntary soil survey. It was an emergency response. Halfway up the slope, Linda Caro emerged, clipboard in hand and that polite smile fixed on her face. "Good morning, Mr. Marshall," she said, syrup over steel. "I see you found the environmental crew." I pointed at the respirators on their belts. "Routine? What are they testing for? Radioactive pine needles?" She glanced at the hazmat suits, then back at me. "Standard screening for undeveloped parcels adjacent to the community. Nothing alarming." She closed the distance. "If you prefer, the HOA could purchase the lot at a modest price and spare you the headaches." I squinted at her. "Consider it in exchange for the truth of why this is framed as a hazard." She laughed without warmth. "Mr. Marshall, you'll find no hazard once our experts finish. Trust the process." I stood on the ridge, watching faint vapor curl from frost-chilled soil. Uncle Ron once wrote that this land breathed at dawn. I hadn't understood until now. After they packed up, I wandered across the meadow. The red flags marking probe points formed a silent pattern. I pressed a hole with my boot. The ground pulsated like a slow heartbeat. Beneath me, something shifted. Inside Ron's cabin, cedar and dust filled the air. I tore open the manila envelopes from the estate lawyer. The tax assessments had skyrocketed in the past 3 years, first doubling, then doubling again, despite no new utilities. Someone had rigged the numbers. My uncle's journal told the rest. Under Strangers at Night, he recorded lights skirting the tree line, hushed drills, men in heavy gear testing the soil. On one page he scrawled, "They listen to the ridge breathe. They're not here to protect. They're mining for value." A knock echoed. Brent Mallory, a Pine Ridge Estates board member, looked anxious. He gripped a binder as if it might slip away. "Mr. Marshall," he said, voice wavering, "I wanted to welcome you formally. The HOA is here to help." I motioned to the cabin door. "Explain the hazmat suits." He swallowed hard. Sweat gleamed on his forehead. A loose sheet fluttered from his open binder. GMS Granger Mineral Services, Subsurface Reading Report, confidential. Realization slammed into me. GMS wasn't testing for mold. They were measuring thermal anomalies in gas pockets, geothermal hotspots worth millions. Brent stammered, I shouldn't have this. It's background info." He fled before I could ask more. My pulse raced as I examined the report. Zone C4, irregular gas concentrations, thermal pockets, energy resource, restricted access recommended. Outside, the sunrise warmed the frost but left the vent's steam visible. A soft hiss drifted across the meadow. I recorded the tremor under my boot. Rhythmic pulses not natural. My phone buzzed. Sheriff Cole Walker. "Mr. Marshall, stay on the trails. County engineers reported ground shifts. Don't dig." "What am I looking for?" A pause. "Not sure. Just be careful." I called Maya Trent, the environmental attorney the sheriff recommended. At the Ranger Station Cafe, she listened as I described the hazmat scene, the tax hikes, the confidential report. No HOA has the right to subsurface mineral testing, she said. They used a public safety loophole to trespass. We'll file for all HOA contracts. If they paid Granger, it'll show up. I felt we had leverage. Back at the cabin, a yellow notice flagged my gate. Failure to comply with environmental directives, $500 fine. I sent Maya a photo. Perfect, she wrote. They're acting illegally. Before dusk, 3 HOA alerts pinged on my phone. Warnings calling my property a hazard, urging residents to avoid me, accusing me of ignoring advisories. They were isolating me, preparing to vilify me. I drove onto the ridge at evening. Branches scraped my roof. Above the meadow, white steam spiraled. I crouched beside fractures radiating through shale. Beneath them, warmth pulsed, energy alive. I filmed wide shots for Maya. A fresh grid of footprints led from the vents to a hidden logging track, hazmat boots like the morning crews. They'd been here long before any official test. A twig snapped. I whirled. A white envelope landed at my feet. I opened it. They're lying. Meet me at the old sawmill. Come alone. T.A. Troy Alden, ex-HOA treasurer who'd vanished last year. I tucked the note into my jacket. At dawn, I found Troy at the abandoned sawmill. The lock on a side door was shattered. Inside, rotten dust coated the conveyor belt. Troy held a canvas satchel. Elias Granger's team discovered a superheated geothermal pocket here 3 years ago, he whispered. They plan to buy it through the HOA, raise your uncle's taxes, scare him off, get extraction permits. He pulled out emails from the satchel. Linda Caro coordinating with Granger Mineral Services, reclassify the ridge as hazard, leverage county easements, keep you in the dark. My chest tightened. Troy handed me flash drives sealed in evidence bags. Board calls, Zoom meetings, contract bids. They're ready to switch your land as soon as you're gone. I locked the data in Ron's steel cabinet. Troy warned, they've called an HOA meeting tonight. They'll publicly condemn your land before you expose them. Maya confirmed, go, observe, gather witnesses, and let the evidence speak. At 6 p.m., I entered the Pine Ridge Estates Lodge. Linda Caro stood at the podium, framing my property as a looming danger. Volatile gas leaks, she warned. We must protect our community. I held back. Maya's advice, watch and record. Linda pressed on. We propose granting the HOA oversight for a full cleanup. I stood and raised my hand. Which agency conducted these tests, and why the hazmat suits? A hush fell. She faltered. Standard protocol, state guidelines. I cut her off, playing the hazmat footage on my phone. Crews drilling, beepers surging, the sheriff stepping back, the jury in their eyes. Then I held up Troy's flash drive. Board meeting recordings, emails discussing geothermal extraction. You lied to us to seize my land. Chaos erupted. Shouts filled the room. Then Brent Mallory rose, voice trembling. He's telling the truth. I helped falsify those tests. I'm sorry. As Brent spoke, Sheriff Walker stepped forward with warrants. We have probable cause. We'll investigate these documents. The room fractured. Neighbors approached me afterward, apologizing, thanking me. Brent's tears. Thank you, he whispered. By night's end, the HOA's power crumbled. State agencies would evaluate the vents. Uncle Ron's legacy was safe. I stepped outside into the clear Montana air. Steam still twisted above the meadow, proof that beneath every ridge a story waits to be told. If you'd like more stories like these, please like and subscribe.